Have you ever had the feeling that something big is about to happen? That the events around you are following a pattern that seems to have been written a long time ago? What if I told you that one of the most terrifying prophecies in the Bible could be unfolding right now? Throughout history, many predictions have been made, some lost to time, others once thought impossible. Until now, what we are about to reveal might change the way you see the world. Before we go on, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because in the upcoming videos, we'll explore even more mysteries that you won't want to miss. The evidence is in front of us, but few are able to see what is really happening. Every day, new pieces of this puzzle fall into place, creating a picture that was described with unsettling accuracy centuries ago. But before we understand what is happening, we need to take a step back and examine the prophecy in question. What is this prophecy? What does it predict? And most importantly, why do so many believe we are living through its fulfillment? The answer is in the Bible. The Bible is full of prophecies, but some are especially disturbing. Among the sacred texts, there is a prophecy that speaks of dark times, a period where the world will face unprecedented challenges, where truth will be distorted, and the fate of humanity will hang by a thread. This warning was recorded thousands of years ago, but it seems to describe the present day with chilling accuracy. It speaks of nations in conflict, rising corruption and violence, a unified global system, and even the arrival of a leader who will bring hope, only to later reveal his true face. But what makes this prophecy so impactful is that the signs it describes seem to be happening before our eyes. The very book of Revelation, written by John on the island of Patmos, contains descriptions of events that many believe are coming true right now. Could this be just a coincidence? Or is there something much larger at play? To understand this, we need to look at the world around us and see if these signs are already happening. If this prophecy is truly being fulfilled, then the signs should be everywhere. And the most terrifying part? They are. In recent years, we've witnessed an alarming rise in natural disasters, wars, and economic crises. But there's something even more intriguing: the growth of an interconnected global system, where governments and major corporations are increasingly in control. Technology has evolved to the point where mass surveillance is no longer a science fiction concept. Digital financial control, restrictions on freedoms, and the rise of charismatic leaders promising a better future. All of this echoes the words written thousands of years ago. What if I told you there's a specific event, a recent milestone that many scholars point to as the key to fulfilling this prophecy? Something that happened and may have been the turning point? Let's connect these events and understand how they fit into a much larger context. Are you ready to discover what is really happening? If this prophecy is truly being fulfilled, it cannot be isolated. The Bible is an interconnected book, and many of its prophecies overlap and complement each other. What we are witnessing might just be the beginning of something much larger. From the words of the Old Testament prophets to the visions in Revelation, there are striking parallels between different sacred texts that point toward the same end. Remember the prophecies of Daniel? He foretold the rise and fall of empires and described a time when a global government would emerge, bringing false promises of peace. And Ezekiel? He spoke of dangerous alliances between nations that are now beginning to come to fruition. But there's an even more disturbing connection. Something predicted not just in the Bible, but also in other ancient texts. Could it be possible that different civilizations had predicted the same event? Let's dive into history and discover how these predictions were interpreted over the centuries and what they say about our future. You won't want to miss this revelation. So, did you already know these facts? Leave a comment below and let's talk. If this prophecy truly describes the present times, then why throughout history have so many people believed it had already been fulfilled before? From the fall of Rome to the present day, various scholars and religious leaders have pointed to events that seem to correspond with what was described in the Bible. During the Middle Ages, for example, many believed figures like Napoleon and Hitler represented the fulfillment of these predictions. Others linked the prophecy to the rise of totalitarian regimes, the creation of the European Union, and even the rise of modern technology. But there's a crucial detail. All these interpretations were made before the digital age, before extreme globalization, and before the technological control we have today. And that's exactly what makes this moment different from any other in history. This time, the prophecy not only seems to be unfolding, it may be playing out in an irreversible way. But can we trust all the predictions made in the past? How many times have people claimed the end was near and nothing happened? Let's explore the mistakes in interpretation that have occurred before, and what keeps us from falling into the same traps. After all, how do we differentiate a real warning from a mere conspiracy theory? With each new generation, a group of people claims we're living through the end times. Some of these predictions were based on misinterpretations of the Bible, while others arose from specific political and social events. Do you remember the year 1000? Thousands of people believed that would be the end of the world. The same happened in 1666, due to the number 666 and a series of disasters that struck London that year. More recently, the turn of the millennium. In 2000 and the 2012 predictions created waves of global panic. So what differentiates these wrong predictions from what we're witnessing now? The answer lies in the details. None of those previous interpretations fit perfectly into all the aspects described in the Bible. They were approximations, assumptions based on fear and historical coincidences. This time, however, the signs are not isolated. They converge in a frightening way. Technology, geopolitical conflicts, the world economy, everything points to a scenario described thousands of years ago. But there's one crucial factor that has always been at the heart of the prophecies: Israel. Let's explore the role of Israel and the Middle East in this narrative, and understand why this small nation has historically been the epicenter of so many prophetic predictions. If there's a place in the world where prophecy becomes reality with chilling accuracy, it's the Middle East. More specifically, Israel. Since the nation of Israel was re-established in 1948, Bible scholars have closely observed the events unfolding in the region. After all, the scriptures indicate that Jerusalem will be the stage for decisive events for humanity. In recent years, increasing tensions between Israel and its neighbors have reignited attention on texts like Ezekiel 38 and 39, which describe a great war involving many nations. Many believe that the current political alliances and geopolitical conflicts are exactly what was predicted. But there's something even more intriguing. Some prophecies speak of a third temple that will be rebuilt in Jerusalem before the final outcome. And guess what? There are already active movements fighting for this to happen. All of this leads us to a chilling question. What if the prophecy is unfolding right before our eyes, but most people still haven't noticed? To answer that, we need to observe one element that could be the key to making everything come to pass: the advancement of technology and global control. Let's dive into this issue and understand how technology might be paving the way for this prophecy to become reality. Are you ready for what's coming next? Let's keep going, but before we do, I noticed you haven't liked the video yet. If you're enjoying the content, go ahead and click the thumbs up. Imagine a world where every financial transaction, every movement, and even every word spoken online is monitored in real time. Now take a look around. This world already exists. The Bible mentions a global control system that will be established in the last days. In the book of Revelation, there's a description of a power that will restrict people's freedom, preventing them from buying or selling without a specific mark. For centuries, this idea seemed impossible, something worthy of myths or fiction. But with today's technology, this reality has never been so close. Today, we see governments and large corporations implementing digital identification systems, central bank-controlled digital currencies, and surveillance networks tracking everything in real time. Artificial intelligence advancing at a rapid pace can already predict behaviors and influence mass decisions. But what makes this even more alarming is that all of this is happening simultaneously with other prophetic events. It's not just technological advancement, It's a series of changes pointing to a future described thousands of years ago. If the prophesied control system is forming now, what does this mean for us? How does this affect our daily lives? Let's analyze the impact of this transformation on modern society and how it might be leading us to an irreversible point. The prophecy is not fulfilled only through isolated events. It manifests in the way society changes, in the values that are redefined, and in the structures that are transformed without most people realizing it. In recent years, we have witnessed social changes that many consider prophetic signs. The inversion of values, the growth of intolerance against Christian principles, and the normalization of ideologies that stray from the Holy Scriptures are just a few examples. In politics, we see an accelerated move towards global governance. International organizations are gaining more power over sovereign nations, while influential leaders openly talk about the need for a new world order. In the economy, we are heading towards a digital financial system, where physical money may become obsolete. This would pave the way for unprecedented control over individual finances, exactly as predicted in Revelation. What if all of this is preparing the ground for something even bigger, something that, once it begins, cannot be stopped? Let's explore the possible developments of all this and try to answer the most terrifying question: what comes next? If we are truly living the fulfillment of the prophecy, then what comes after? What are the next events we can expect? According to the Scriptures, the world will go through a period of unprecedented tribulation. Wars, crises, natural disasters, and persecutions will escalate alarmingly. But at the same time, a charismatic leader will emerge with promises of peace and stability, gaining the trust of humanity. Many believe that this moment is already near. Some recent events point to global movements that could accelerate this transition, such as the advancement of strategic political alliances, the impending financial collapse, and the complete digitization of economies. The remaining question is, how do we prepare for this? What does the Bible say about those who endure this period and remain firm? Let's explore exactly this and understand what we can do in the face of what is to come. If these prophecies are truly being fulfilled, preparation should not only be physical or financial, it must be spiritual. The Bible makes it clear that those who are attentive to the signs and firm in faith will have discernment to face the challenges that will come. Throughout history, many have erred in trying to predict exact dates or create panic. But the true lesson of the Scriptures is not fear, but vigilance. Jesus warned us to be prepared, but not to fall into despair. This means seeking knowledge, strengthening faith, and not being deceived by manipulated narratives. It means understanding that behind the events occurring in the world, a greater plan is unfolding. But there is one last question that still needs to be answered. Are we really living the fulfillment of this prophecy? Or is all of this just coincidence? In the next section, we will reach the shocking conclusion, and you can decide for yourself. Now that we've gone through all the evidence, interpretations, and events that seem to be connected to this prophecy, we reach the final question. Is all of this real or just a big coincidence? The truth is that many signs point to an imminent fulfillment. However, the danger is not just in the events themselves, but in how we react to them. The Bible already predicted that many would remain blind to the signs, while others would despair. But there is a third option: understanding what is happening, not in fear, but with discernment and preparation. What we are seeing today could be just the beginning, or it could be the realization of what was written thousands of years ago. In the end, the decision is yours. Ignore the signs or prepare for what may come. Is the prophecy being fulfilled? Do you believe it? The answer may be closer than we think. Thank you for watching until now. Don't forget to subscribe to continue receiving more amazing content like this.